Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today it's time for a new monthly plan with me video where we're gonna set up our journals for July. We have a fun green and lilac inspired theme, and without further introductions, let's open up the journal and go through the stickers and decorations I'm planning to use this month. Hedda from Ikigai Papir and Mochi Bujo here on YouTube recently gifted me her new garden party sticker collection and also some of her bullet journal stickers from last year. When I saw this collection, I knew I wanted to create a monthly theme surrounding these products. I was super inspired by this color palette of muted lilac and these yellowish green tones. I was also gifted stickers by another creator who goes by the name Henriette Arts. And I feel like some of her stickers perfectly match the colors and vibes, especially these beautiful fan stickers and some of the lavender stickers from her fall sheet. She also sent me 2 washi tapes, which I'm probably gonna use in the upcoming month as well. So I've just been spoiled by my friends and I'm so excited to play with all these new products I have. As always, I also dug up some old washi tapes from my own collection that match the colors. And something that's still available in my shop is the Afternoon in Paris pet tape, which I think will perfectly match the colors and vibes of these stickers. So I think I'll get some use out of these as well. But I think that's all about the product lineup this time, so let's start setting up the journal from this monthly cover page that I use these extra pages for in the Hobonichi daily section. If this is your first time here, by the way, I'm using the Hobonichi cousin journal and I've been using it now for around 6 months, so from the start of this year. After we've set up these few pages that I always like to prepare for the upcoming month, we are also gonna flip through all my June pages so far, and I'll also share some experiences I've had using this journal lately. I thought I'll also share some of my overall thoughts now that I've been using this journal for quite a few months. And especially comparing this to bullet journaling, which is the method I used before this one. But anyway, on this cover page, I absolutely wanted to use this gorgeous foiled or almost mirror looking girl sticker. The reflection in this sticker is insane. It's so beautiful. So I wanted it to have a moment here on the cover spread. However, I did want to draw some bigger lavender flowers in the background before we put this sticker down. I feel like I've drawn lavenders many times before in my videos, but in case you haven't seen me do that, I'm starting with this lighter brush pen and first just drawing these random oval shapes pretty much in all directions. I did draw kind of a guideline for myself just so I know where to place these flowers and how tall I want to make them, but other than that, we're just going in freehand. However, if you feel like a sketch would help you out, you could absolutely sketch the placements of the flowers beforehand before you go in with a pen that you cannot erase anymore. After the first color layer, I'm taking out a second brush pen color which is ever so slightly darker than the first color, and I'm using this to add a bit of shadow and variation in the colors. I'm trying to focus this one on the lower half of these circle shapes and also a little bit on the edges of them to create a more defined outline to some of these flowers. Then after that, we're gonna draw some long leaves and also the flower stems. And I did this step using 2 different green tones because there wasn't a green in my collection that felt like the perfect match for the green tone in these stickers. So this first one is slightly too brownish in my opinion, so I went over this one with this much brighter green to change the tone ever so slightly. I don't know if it made that much of a difference, but I think it helped a tiny bit. You could definitely leave the flowers here, but I decided to do this extra step by taking this darker violet colored pencil, and I used this to outline some of the flowers a little bit and also add some further shadowing to some of these. This color doesn't show up too much, but I think it again added some definition to these shapes and made them match the style of the stickers maybe a little bit better. But then it's finally time to start adding the stickers on top here. So after adding the big girl sticker, I took some of those fan stickers I mentioned earlier and some butterflies and sparkles and just added them all over the page to cover some of the emptiness. And then lastly, we're gonna write a July title on this random lilac paper I found from my printed paper pile. The shade of lilac doesn't perfectly match the stickers, but I thought it was close enough and added a nice outline for this title. If you're wondering where this scribble paper is from that I'm using in the background, this is actually from my own shop and it's from the Swan Lake paper pattern kit. So from the spring collection, which is still available, so you can still get these papers if you want. But I think that's pretty much it for the cover page this time. I love the colors as stickers here. And then let's flip over to the back of my journal where I have all my pen and ink swatches. So I wanted to show you some brush pen colors that I think would match this theme, and I'll first show the 4 pens we already used to draw the lavender flowers, which are purple sage, lilac, and then the green colors are avocado and light olive. I think pretty much any purples would suit this theme, and I decided to also add 2 of my slightly more blue leaning purples, which are called Mist Purple and Peacock Blue. And then I have this newer, darker pen in the shade Dark Plum, which I think will be great for some darker titles, or just if I need a little bit darker shade in general. Then let's flip over 1 page to my ink swatches. So I like to use colored ink on the daily sections when I write, and I think it looks so pretty how the ink color switches every month. And this time I think definitely any kind of green shade would work with this collection, or even my muted pink would go together with this pretty nicely. But I've already used all 3 of these shades earlier this year, so instead I decided to go with my Sailor Yurameku ink in the color Yoi, which is this gray color with hints of green and even purple. It's a very difficult color to describe, and I believe it's kind of a color changing shade as well. So it looks very different on different papers. If you can get a sample or test this ink before buying it, that might be a good idea. But I've been waiting for the opportunity to finally use this color, and I think it will be good enough match with this collection, so I decided to use this one in the upcoming month. Then let's flip over a few more pages and set up my theme overview page, which I use this pre-made timetable page for at the back of the journal. I always try to choose some small stickers here because this space is very limited. It's actually too small to even use regular washi tape, so I have to rip a smaller piece from one. Then I really wanted to use this Mochi Bujo garden party title in one of these sticker sheets, but there's no cut line for it, so I just cut it out of the sheet with scissors and glued it to this section as a name for this monthly theme. But then we're ready to move on to the monthly calendar, which I always like to decorate a little bit more. The monthly calendar is at the start of the journal, and I use these to mark any bigger deadlines like video schedules or longer term plans for my shop and so on, which I can then later move to the weekly pages. I also use this for social media post tracking, which I don't really do anywhere else because I like to schedule things beforehand and don't really need to write them on a daily basis. But anyway, we will first start with the decorations. I wanted to cover the weekday titles with these TheCoffeeMosterzCo Days of the Week stickers that are from the 2025 monthly kits. And after that, I used these lilac number stickers from the Garden Party collection. There was a green option as well, which in hindsight would have probably added a bit more green to this spread because I felt like I had more lilac decorations. But anyway, I think these look good too. Then let's add some decorations to the top corner to hide the monthly information here. I always ended up decorating these pages in a pretty similar way because there's not that much room. So I took some of the same scribble text pattern we used earlier and added some of these stickers. I especially like these hanging wisteria style flower stickers, and we'll use the other one later on the bottom edge. I also wrote this small July title. The month starts on Tuesday this time, so there wasn't too much room here at the top. So I kept the title a little bit smaller this time. I decided to use this lilac plaid washi tape here on the bottom edge of the spread. And this is actually also from Ikigai Papir. However, I'm not sure if these are available anymore. I got this quite a while ago. And then I wanted to add this big lavender sticker, which is an individual sticker I got from Henriette Arts as well. But I wanted there to be something green in this corner as well, so I just went in with my brush pen and added some leaves behind the sticker, which has a clear packing, so these green leaves will be visible under the sticker as well. After adding a few more stickers at the bottom, we can then start to fill in the calendar. I like to start with this left edge column that I use to list a few important things each month. So in July, I definitely want to focus on taking my small vacation. I'll have about 2 weeks completely free, also counting the time I'll be in Finland, and I'm very excited. So my shop will also be closed for quite a few weeks, and I will close it around 9 p.m. on June 24th. Japan time. So if there is something you wanted to order before my break, now is the time to do it. I will ship all the orders before I leave for Finland on the 26th, so you don't have to wait for a long time. But otherwise, we'll have a new reading journal video, and I also need to make good progress on my fall collection designs. I'm especially gonna do that on this one free week after my holiday when my shop is still closed, so that I can really focus on the designing for once and not try to do that while also packing orders and filming videos. All of the video schedules might still change slightly as always, and I'm sorry that there won't be a new weekly Plan With Me video this month either. I just can't really squeeze it anywhere because of my holiday, but we'll have one again next month. But I think that's pretty much it for the monthly calendar this time. I'm not gonna add my social media post stuff just yet because I'm not really sure what I'm able to post when I'm in Finland or after that as well, so I'll consider all of that a little bit later. But now that all the July pages are done, let's finish the video by flipping through all the June pages, and I also want to share some of my overall thoughts about using the Hobonichi cousin for the past 6 months as someone who came from years of bullet journaling. I honestly barely opened this page for my June monthly calendar. I don't know if I updated anything in here at least yet. For the first 2 weeks in June, I was very busy handling all the summer launch orders from my shop, so everything else was kind of put on hold for a little bit. I've also been kind of unmotivated towards Instagram recently, like I've mentioned in my past videos, so that definitely affects as well. But I'm trying to get better at least posting semi-regularly every once in a while. So let's flip over to the weekly section instead. I was using my own summer collection products in June, so these are from the Tropical Getaway collection, which has some lemons, tropical flowers, beaches, turtles, that kind of stuff. As you can see, I didn't really have a use for the first week in June because I didn't do anything except just pack and ship as many orders as I could. We luckily live pretty close to the post office, so I just carry all the packages there once or twice a day during a launch week, which always depends on how many I can carry at once. But yeah, let's move on from this empty week, and on the next weekly spread, I decided to use some of the lemon themed items in the collection. I really like the lemon washi tape, and luckily you guys seem to be liking the lemon products as well. So this was a bit of a back to routine type of week. I still had a bunch of orders to pack, but I could also concentrate on filming some videos. And I could have a free weekend with lots of reading. I just finished The Hero of Ages this week, and oh my god, I loved it so much. I can't wait to talk about the Mistborn series in my upcoming reading journal video. But anyway, this is the current week. It still looks pretty empty, but I'm probably gonna fill some of the empty space here later with some stickers. I've gotten into a routine of using the weekly section in this calendar as more of a long-term plan, or maybe not long-term, just a few days in advance type of plan. This is usually where I come first thing on Monday morning to plan out my week and to make sure I have enough time to do all the important tasks that I need to finish on that specific week. I also tend to mark any appointments or things to remember on these pages, and then I might move those into the daily section as well, kind of depending on the case. When I started this journal, I was a little bit worried about having the weekly pages and the daily pages, and just having all of that empty space felt a little bit daunting. However, I got used to it pretty quickly, and even though there are weeks when I'm just doing the bare minimum, it doesn't really take that much time to set up a page like this. Usually I just apply a strip of washi tape and maybe some extra stickers if I have the time, and otherwise I always feel like it's a pretty productive thing to do, to outline the weekly schedule, especially for someone who works for themselves and works from home. This is definitely a necessary thing for me to do. But then on the daily pages, we of course start with the monthly cover page, as always, where I used some of the bigger items from the collection. Especially these first few days in June were quite empty or filled with some random stuff. For example, I wanted to write about the summer launch, so how it went, and things I should improve on in the future. So I used 2 days for this when I didn't use my planner otherwise, and I think it works perfectly fine to do this instead of leaving the pages blank. Even after that, I tried to fill the space on these pages as much as possible by using some bigger decoration items and some big brush pen lettering. I try not to be too strict about filling every single page fully, and the combination of some big titles and decorations has turned out to be my go-to for the days I don't really have that much time or energy, and also for the days that I'm filling out afterwards. On this one Monday, I wrote all my task lists and daily notes on the wrong day, so I thought it was the perfect opportunity to use this struggle bus sticker from my TWSBI collection. Then I wrote a little bit about this Sunday on the Monday pages instead, so these are just kind of reversed. I've also really enjoyed sticking in some random stuff like a movie theater ticket. We went to see the new Mission Impossible movie in the middle of a day with my husband, so I glued the ticket in my journal. Same with any stickers or things I might get from orders, or maybe some food items we buy. Even though it's nothing special, I really enjoy having a place to store all those small memories from the daily life. On this one day, I was extremely proud of myself for filming 2 painting videos in one day. I can assure you that that doesn't usually happen. And then on these past few days this week, I've tried to separate my daily task lists into kind of work tasks, and then these what I call life tasks, or basically just stuff that is not related to work. I've kind of liked this, and I think I'll try to do this moving forward as well, especially if there is something worth remembering. I like how it encourages me to write a little bit different things in the journal and that it's not all work related. So yeah, it's Thursday now, so there are still quite a few pages to go this month. I'm filming this video a little bit earlier because I am leaving for Finland next week and I'll be away from my home studio for a while. During my break, I'll probably be a little bit less active on social media and answering my email, but I'll still do my very best to do that every few days. But yeah, my overall feelings about the Hobonichi cousin have been extremely positive. I feel like it has improved my productivity by a ton, and intentionally writing down my daily task lists and coming up with these simple color and decoration combinations each day has been surprisingly fun and easy, especially if you don't make it any harder for yourself than it needs to be. And of course, there are days when I don't open up my journal, and that's also totally fine. I have always thought that the key to long-term journaling is not pushing yourself to update the journal every day, and to allow yourself that freedom to return to the journal when it actually serves you and not the other way around. Compared to bullet journaling, this definitely takes less effort, which I know might sound crazy when you see all these filled pages, but truthfully, bullet journaling was very time consuming for me, especially because I went for quite elaborate monthly themes. So this has definitely felt like a change for the better for me, and something that fits my current situation and life much better. I'm enjoying having the option to just immediately start writing everything down without any decorating or setting up, if that's what I need in the morning. And that was something that was a little bit more difficult with a bullet journal, where you always have to at least set up the initial space to some extent. My journal is getting quite thick, as you can see. I would say that it's still not too thick to the point that it's difficult to use, and there is still some room in my clear cover. However, I am slightly concerned that we still have 6 months to go and that it would be extremely difficult to use this journal by the end of the year. So I might consider going for the Avec system next year, which is basically the same Hobonichi cousin but separated into 2 slimmer journals from January to June and then from July to December. As you have seen, I use quite a lot of decorations and I haven't really limited myself much, except maybe trying to consider not always placing the decorations in the same spot on the pages, because I found that it definitely starts to make a difference when there are so many pages in the journal. Something I also don't know if I've mentioned before is that I usually only update this journal once a day, usually in the mornings. After that, I might just have it open on my table and cross off items from my task list. But I don't usually write a journal entry multiple times a day. Sometimes this means that I might add something that happened yesterday on the next day's page. For example, I finished reading The Hero of Ages on Wednesday night, but I wrote it on the Thursday page instead because there was no room on my Wednesday page. But I personally don't really mind, and it's more important to me that the thing is recorded somewhere, even if it's not the exact day and time. And then there is this page at the front of my journal, which I usually never show in the videos, which is my daily workout tracker. I've been pretty consistent with this, as you can see, because it's super easy to use and I like having this one place where I just list all of my workout stuff. But I think that's pretty much all I have for today. I was considering making a separate video comparing bullet journaling and the Hobonichi experience. I might do that at some point, but I don't think I have the time to film and edit an extra video like that now. And I think I would just be repeating the same things I've been saying so far in the Plan With Me videos. So I hope you got some new ideas or inspiration from this video. And if it was your first time around here and you'd like to stay tuned for more journaling and art stuff, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye!